Welcome to the apex of sports ownership, the Apex Athletic Collective.
Welcome in, everyone, to episode 87 of Instigate Success, building an ABA franchise, with your host, as always, Jake Schoen, aka Jakeymuffins, here every Friday night around 9 p.m. Eastern for the next hour or so. Tonight will probably be a little bit shorter than that, with it being the holiday weekend. That way, everyone can go and enjoy their night and weekend. So happy Good Friday to everyone who celebrates. We are officially in off-season mode. So last year at this time was the championship weekend, if you do remember, the weekend of last year in the championship weekend was the 420 weekend for championship game. So a little bit earlier this year, we jump into the off season. This is our second week of the off season now, and we should be having some votes out here shortly. I know that's something that we always hit on, and we've got the off season is the time when we have a lot of fan votes out. So anybody that the fan voter tier or higher, over on our Patreon, the Apex Athletic Collective Patreon, thank you to everyone who is a member over there. We are at 149. We are just short of that 150 mark. I've got to work on some graphics. Like I said, I've been falling behind a little bit on that, so I haven't had the slides here on the podcast, but I'll get that up next week. I should be getting those back up where we have slides to look at. But we will be having votes up here shortly for player and coaching evaluations. We were getting those out here soon. We wanted to make sure they were done properly. Last season we had two separate ones, one for players specifically, and then what we were looking for in coaching for the second one. This year, I believe we're going to have, it's just going to be one combined one. With it being a little bit different because obviously last season, going into the off season, we were looking for a coach. We didn't have a coach already. So this year it's an evaluation of the players as well as the coaching, because obviously we have the opportunity to have the same coaching this year. Last season we knew going into the off season that Frosty was not going to be the permanent coach with the team. But we had Coach Dobbs this season, who finished out the season, started and finished, first coach to do that in Instigator's history. So you get a chance to do your evaluations not only for Coach Dobbs, but you also get to do that for the players as well. And last year, I know we had, it was kind of like a tier system where there's like 5 different options as far as like, definitely want this player back. It must keep, something along the lines of that, to lesser and lesser and lesser, and then kind of like indifferent. This year, I think we have it switched over, so it's a star rating. So it's not quite as wordy when it comes to that. It's more or less like overall rating for the player, and then breakdown of some specific capabilities of the players. So things like shooting, passing, defense, more specific than that, but that's just an overview to give you guys a heads up on that. But we should be having that out here shortly. I think we're going to try to do that. So it is out for next week, if I'm not mistaken. I know this week we were polishing that up, just making sure everything was all good on that. As far as our end, running it by guys on the team, players, coaches, all that, just to make sure it looked like it hit all the key points that we feel are necessary as far as evaluations go. And the cool thing about this, we've hit this before as well, is that all of those people on that fan voter tier, you quite literally get the same vote as I do, as the owners do. That fan vote is equally weighted compared to every other vote. So players, coaching, fan votes, owners all have the same weight when it goes into that vote. And then obviously we'll go back and review it, take a look and see how everybody feels overall as far as player evaluations, coaching evaluations, and then we'll sit down, tally those results, and eventually have discussions further on that. We took that into account this past season. Obviously, there were some players that, everybody wanted to get back. We tried our best to get the players back that did fall in that category. And we did have a few players return to start the season. Starting season two and ending season two, had some players fall out throughout the time, with JoJo Hart being the only player who's started season one and finished season two. But if you go back and look at who started season two with the Instigators, we did have several repeat players, returning players. Obviously, JoJo had Chuck Bloom, Joe Bird, Dylan Ware, and AB. So we took those votes into account from last season, and took the player evaluations, and tried our best effort to get those players to return for season two. One of the other players that we were I think he technically was on the roster very briefly, was Lawan Whitney as well, was another player. Using those evaluations, we went and got back, but he was going to that other league things, and things didn't wind up working out this year. But just goes to show, those evaluations, going into off season, we really do take those into consideration, and we do our very best to take that and create the team into season two. Um, you know, Obviously this year a little bit more fluidity as far as the player situation goes, and yeah, I will say there's also like an open-ended section as well. Any comments, concerns, things that you think we could improve upon, things that you think we did well, and we definitely consider all those as well. Obviously we wanted to have that fans man vote this year, something that we're going to strive to do next season more consistently. Just weren't able to do that with the turnover on the roster this season. But we want to continue to work on having more and more fan involvement and voting throughout the season. Um, Something that has been core to the Apex Athletic Collective is having the fan ownership aspect involved with that. So that's a heads up for that. I think we will also have some other fund votes up. And then obviously this is the first time actually that with that player evaluation, the first time we get to do a coach evaluation too. So there is also an aspect on that. So just like with the players, you get the overall rating. There are breakdowns as far as specific things within coaching for you guys to evaluate Coach Dobbs too. Things like scheme, overall, you know. Like team chemistry, things of those nature. So it's a pretty cool vote we got coming up. But we will have more votes up as well during the off season. Some stuff not quite as important, but it'll be fun stuff. I think we are going to wind up doing vote for the camera name. Obviously we have the AI camera now, so we don't have a man behind the camera anymore. But because we used to have someone behind the camera, that's where the name that I threw out there, Rob 2.0, that's gonna get my vote. But we'll have some submissions up there at some point, and at some point we'll have the overall vote for that as well. That way we have somebody to blame if there's any mistakes, with the camera footage. I think we had one game that we could actually say was the camera's fault. Every other time we had an issue with the camera, it was more so technical difficulties on our end. And something that we worked through as we went throughout the season. But that we learned that have that camera. I'm not there every week in person, but I did learn that the camera has it has to get updates, and if it's not the current update, it has to be on a network to update itself. And if it's not, then it does kick itself from the streams and things of those nature. So we saw that a few times this season. Um, and nice to see Night J right out here on Twitch. We got a name submission for the camera. That's a good one too. Bop. I like that one. I think that's definitely one we'll have on the vote here. But we'll definitely have a vote up there. The only time though the camera I think actually went bad was it mirrored the image somehow, and we still don't 100% know how it did. Something with the old gym in that Lions game. It If you watch the game footage that we have, it quite literally has like two games going on it simultaneously. So it'll be breaks where there's nobody on the court, and then it'll have times where there's both courts or both sides of the court. It looks like there's a game going on at the same exact time. So very, very confusing to watch. But that was the only time that we actually had everything set up, I believe, properly, and the camera had an issue. But I think they got that one chalked up to the venue being very old and possibly haunted. Um, but we'll have to see if we have another game there, if the same thing happens. But other than that, really it was more of a user error than a camera error in the other games, and that's why we had the delayed streams for some of those, because it still does a backup recording. It just can't do that live capability when it has things of that nature happen. Um, but that's one of the other things. I know this past season we had the um, shorts. We changed the shorts for the team, so we'll have to see and discuss. Personally, I don't think we need any kind of like um, logo change, team change, anything of that nature. We'll be going into season 3, and plus, if we ever have a vote as far as the logo, colors, anything of that nature, I'm always going to vote for the original one, that one, because that is quite literally on my chest, and I don't think unless we get another team, another another franchise, another sport, something like that, I don't think I should have to change the tattoo until then, or add another tattoo until then. But maybe we'll have some roster, or not roster, jersey tweaks, something of that nature. Um, but I think overall our jerseys are pretty good. And one of the better ones in the ABA. Um, and now that we've got the shorts, our shorts have the logo on there. I would say that was probably my only critique of maybe season 1, is we didn't have the Instigators logo on the jersey, but now we've got it on the shorts. So I think overall very solid. And comparatively, it's one of the best ones. I don't know if I would say it's the best. I can't think of another one I would have ranked higher, but obviously I'm biased on that. Um, I will say I think I saw 402 Elites jerseys during the playoffs as well. Those were pretty unique. I think they had kind of like the city outline or city streets on them, if I remember correctly. Somebody I feel like had that, and I thought that was kind of cool. And now we've got what we believe is going to be that permanent home in Fishers. So finishing up our first season there in Fishers, the move from Clinton from the season 1, Clinton CRC as the home venue. Now season 2 wrapped up with the Best Choice Fieldhouse in Fishers, Indiana, and we are looking. Hopefully we'll be back there as well. I think that was a great venue for us this season. We had the front seats, courtside seats for all the fans, a great atmosphere for all of those games. And something I really enjoyed. I thought Clinton CRC was amazing as well. Obviously, two different types of venues and different atmospheres within each one of those. Clinton CRC more of the a historical building, that type of atmosphere, and the Best Choice Fieldhouse more of the field house. So it's got multiple courts. You got the newer technology, and you have more people coming and going in and out. So and then obviously Fishers is a bigger city there too. So I think that's good for us. As we continue to grow, I really do think that's a great venue, and a great area for us to continue to be in. So look forward to that in season 3, hopefully as well. Obviously, we always have to get the negotiations down as far as that goes with venues and scheduling and all that type of stuff. And now we'll have to see if we're in the same division too. We had the different divisions going from season 1 to season 2, being in the red division in season 1, then the black division in season 2, both times in the central region. Central region we know is going to be a lock. I don't see any reason that we wouldn't be in the central region. It just depends in which division. And it looks like the camera went out, so let's try to get that back. As far as the division, it'll depend. This year we had more of the teams up in the red, in the black division, and that is more so of like the Chicago area, Illinois type of region. And then there is also obviously the Wisconsin Frost, who we played in the play-in game. um, Talking about play-ins, there's a play-in NBA game going on right now, which I know some people are probably watching that. The Heat and the Hawks, just a few seconds, or I guess less than a minute left in that game, 1-point game. So close matchup there. But we had the play-in game against the Wisconsin Frost, and we also had matchups scheduled that didn't happen, but against teams in Michigan as well. So that was the black division. The red division more so based in the Indiana area. Obviously, we played against most of the teams in the red division, with the Lions and the Legends, Kings, Aces, teams we faced off against last season. And obviously they got a couple teams there in Ohio, and then Tennessee there with Nashville. But it'll be interesting to see. We also had teams get thrown into the division at the end of the season too. So always changing within the ABA, just due to the size of that league and the structure of the league. So many teams in it, that they have to reshuffle every once in a while to get it aligned so that it's more evenly balanced. But those are a couple of things to look out for in this off season. And we will also be having new, some new streams and some returning streams. So Amateur Night will be returning. That should be coming back here shortly. And I believe we're going to start streaming some baseball games. I think that's the first time that I know of on the channel that we're going to be start streaming baseball. But that'll be fun. We're looking forward to that. Obviously, we've got the Oakland Ballers too. Something we would like to get a little bit more involved with. Eventually, we'd like to do a podcast with somebody covering that. But we'll have to work on that. That's another thing for us to hit in the off-season mode. And now that baseball's going around, the Oakland Ballers are playing again. I've seen they had a couple of new celebrity owners that joined the franchise going into this season. So looks like lots of fun things going on with the Ballers there. And I'll have to check in periodically to see how they're doing throughout their season. But eventually we would like to launch a podcast there. Just have to see who would have the capabilities of doing that. But we got that. Amateur night is coming back. And if you have footage that you want us to show on amateur night, or have anything that you think would be good for us to show on amateur night, always have submissions open for that. You can send it over to us. And here you go. Oakland Ballers opening day is May 20th. So that's good to know. So I guess theirs starts a little bit later than the MLB. I'll be honest, I didn't follow super closely, so good to know that. And we'll mark that. I'll mark that down on my calendar to keep an eye open for. But Nightjay right on top of things there for the Oakland Ballers. So we got about a month left, or a month before their opening day. But yeah, we always have submissions open. If anyone has footage for amateur night, you can do that through our website. You can hit us up on the contact form there on the apexofsports.com, on social media, or you can hit us up on our Discord as well if you have any ideas or any footage you think may be good for the amateur night streams that we got coming up. Then we will also have dark web wrestling, and yep, so updates on that. So dark web wrestling, Corey Frosty, he is running that. So he will have some updates on that, I believe, next, either later this month or next month. That should get launched. But I do know he was on a trip recently, so I think maybe getting back here soon from that. So that is he's away from that for right now. But I do know he does plan on getting that launched soon after he gets back. So either later this month or next month, we should have the stream starting for that. And he'll be running those streams. Believe it's going to be streaming here live on our YouTube and Twitch. So it'll be the Apex Athletic Twitch channel, this same channel that you're watching this podcast on. It should have the dark web wrestling, and I think it's also going to have its own dedicated channel over on YouTube. So it'll have that too. So it'll be coming soon. And I know a lot of people coming from the fan-controlled side probably hate to hear that, the coming soon, because that is a phrase that we heard way too frequently with no specifics, and kind of being in a limbo forever. But when we say coming soon, it is actually going to be coming soon. So in the next month or so, we should have that out. But you got that. That will actually be out. I can basically guarantee that. So we got that coming, and then I know we were talking about some other streams. I'll have to see if anything comes to fruition on that. Like I said, one of them obviously was the baller stream, is something we're working on, and then we're just we would like to have content here with the Apex Athletic Collective as much as we can. Ultimately the goal is to have enough that it keeps it. Basically, you have something for every day. Realistically, that's going to be something we have to continue to grow on. We have the podcast here weekly, and then we were having the games once a week. So that was 2 of the days. That's essentially what the amateur night's going to be, is fill in for the game. But dark web wrestling adds the third element there. So we got 3 days that we should be able to have content coming up into the off season. Obviously, the difficulty with that, as far as going any further than that, is just scheduling when it comes down to it, with not only myself but everyone else involved. Trying to get that all scheduled around with everything else going on. So that is something we'll continue to do, and obviously, if anyone is interested in helping or running their own stream, we're always open to that as well. But that is some of the things we got coming up here for the off season. And then I'm sure we'll end up doing some games here. Last off season, we did the IBL Gold Cup. I think that's something we are looking to do as well again this year. Obviously, being the defending champions of that. But that was a really fun opportunity to take part in. And obviously, if we can have the players and build that team chemistry, something we saw that helped in the beginning of the season. Going into that, taking guys that had time to play with the same team and with the same guys on the team throughout the off season, then going into the season, definitely helps with the team chemistry, being on the same page. Something that I think later on in this past season we kind of struggled with again with the changing roster. But if we're able to do that again, we didn't start off hot. We had a couple of losses to start, but then we went on the streak there, and ultimately won that title. And it'd be nice to have another banner or championship belt to add to the collection, so we can start building something as far as a trophy case goes for the instigators. But we had that. We had a couple of 3-on-3 matchups as well. We had the one with the D'Angelo Russell Foundation. So hopefully we can do some stuff like that as well going into the off season and continue to build the team chemistry. Something I think that we all feel is a vital component with becoming a successful team. This season we had 7 wins. Last season we had 7 wins. And both years ended in that final play-in game. So I think really for us to have that next step and get ourselves locked into the playoffs next season, have more wins. I think that is a key going into that is the team chemistry. Um, but obviously something we all have to work on, and then just something I think more so as an owner, I see that I feel like we have to learn the rules better. Just something game to game that I noticed, and then obviously filling in for different positions throughout the season. Learning the rules of the ABA. Because I can't sit here and act like I know every single rule of the ABA. I do know the a lot of the different rules and some of the major rules, but I think for everyone to be more well versed with the ABA rules, we saw not only within our games but in other games as well, including playoff games, that there was not a consistent knowledge or knowledge of the not playoff rules, the overtime rules. And because of that, obviously that's a very game changing knowledge when it comes down to it, and we have to make sure refs know that as well. Ultimately, it should be the refs that do know this, but because the rules are so different, and a lot of these refs do multiple types of games. They not only do ABA games, a lot of them do ABA, high school, some do college, and other leagues as well, other professional leagues. So there's different rules for each and every one of those, and the ABA definitely has its own unique rules, especially the 3D rule. I think everybody pretty much knows that one, but the overtime one is the one I think that is really important to get done right next season, because the way that it was implemented a few times was not proper. So it's the 3-10 and out, where it is a 3-minute overtime period. And then if it is still tied, it goes to the Elam ending next to 10 wins. And that is a unique rule for the ABA. And something that we didn't see get implemented every time. We saw a few games with 5-minute overtime periods, and then a few games going to multiple overtime periods. But again, ultimately, it is that 3-10 and out should be the proper ruling. And then fouls is another thing. It actually has changed year to year from the 2 years that we were in it, as far as the foul count, fouling out, things of that nature. So again, that's something I think all of us, as far as the team goes, will continue to improve and try to have more knowledge throughout the organization here when it comes to the rule books. Other than that, I mean, it was our first season being in the power rankings, a lot of ups and downs. Um, you know, we were number 16 was the highest we got up to. We beat two top 10 teams. First time we ever beaten one of the ranked teams. First time ever being ranked. So lots of positives to take away from that season 2. And going into season 3, we definitely want to get things continuing on the upward trend. So definitely when those evaluations come out, let us know everything you think, and everything that we can do to continue to make this successful and continue to be more successful year to year. Ultimately, we want to get the championship. The Chicago Fury undefeated on the season, back-to-back champions, and if we're in this division, we want to get those bragging rights eventually. So we got some work to do to get that done, and ultimately it's going to be the fans. The fans, say that helps get us to that point. Um, but yeah, fan votes coming out here soon over on the Patreon. 149 Patreon subscribers. So thank you to each and every one of you who is one of those Patreon members. And reminder, if you're not already a fan voter, that's that $10 tier or higher. And once we put those votes out, be sure to be on that subscription level for your voice to be heard on all these upcoming votes. But I think that's pretty much it for tonight's episode. Keeping it a little bit shorter with the holiday weekend here, with it being Good Friday, and hopefully everyone enjoys the holiday weekend. That does celebrate. Happy Easter to all that do celebrate. And enjoy the weekend. Have fun. I'll get the slides back up next week. I'll have some time to work on some slides and graphics and whatnot. So we'll have that next week again. So it's not just this video here with me talking and the Instigators logos in the background, but it also gives you time, if you're watching the playing game, to catch the end of that as it went into overtime, it looks. So that is it for tonight's episode of Instigate Success, episode 87. We are almost down to 100. So we'll have to do something special for 100 when that comes up. But that is going to be it. Thank you, as always, for joining every Friday night here at 9 p.m. Eastern, streaming live on the Patreon as well as on the Apex Athletic Twitch channel for the official Hoosier State Instigators podcast. Until next time, as always, be great and instigate.